Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today I'm going to be reviewing something I don't really do that often, and that's reviewing a graphic novel. And yeah, Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Oh yeah. This originally was in comic book issues, I guess you can say 5 of them I believe, but they just put them all together in one book. And that's the edition I'm reviewing to you folks. The novel, the graphic novel version of this. They're not individual issues, but I'm only going to be talking about the first chapter of this book because just like even with my movie reviews, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm just going to just speak about the first bit. But anyway, so I just thought I'd just talk about this, and I guess might as well. I'm not reviewing a comic book, graphic novel, in such a long time anyway. Also, I didn't talk about a giant kaiju thing in such a long time, so it also gives me an excuse to talk about both things. So I can say the cover art does look rather nice, actually. That's probably the best part of the entire comic. Yeah, if I'm going to be honest here, folks, I know I mentioned this before, but I was never a huge fan of the show. Like, okay, the bastard version of the show, because it was originally a Japanese thing, but it was, I guess you can say, Americanized, I guess you can say. Kind of like what they did with the Godzilla series in some ways, because I know a lot of the Godzilla films were bastardized, I guess you can say, removing a lot of the original context just so for the American viewers. It can either be because of the fact that it disagree with the politics, which is often usually the case here. So yeah, that just I don't know, it makes no sense when you think about it. I mean, yes, some people out there would not have known the actual version of some of these shows, or I'll give another example of what I'm talking about in just a moment. It was an anime that was also bastardized as well. That was sort of just suck. But it happened with the Godzilla movies, the Gamma movies, and of course the Power Rangers were all heavily edited for the American viewers, of course, because for whatever reason, I guess you can say. And as mentioned before, folks, at least this gives me an excuse to talk about kaiju stuff, which technically this is. Same thing with the Power Rangers. I guess it's a kaiju thing as well, regardless of which version you'd be watching. Yeah, well, this entire thing started off with the original Godzilla film, I guess you can say, and since its creation, there's a whole plethora of giant monster movies, whereas literally everybody and a grandmother is trying to capitalize on the trend. So there's like tons and tons and tons of giant monster movies out there. So yeah, that's something to think about. It's about making cash for business and whatnot, what's popular. But that's fine. I know this funding coming from me because I used video game footage and backgrounds when it comes to making, I guess, commentary videos, which is a popular thing nowadays, I guess. But anyway, point being is that often what starts a trend gets left in the dust, is what I'm talking about. But anyway, so yeah, this graphic novel, like I said, probably the best part of this is the artwork, which of course I mean as a compliment. It was the story was done about this. You see the people who were behind this storyline, of course, editor and whatnot, the designer. So that's pretty cool, I guess. And the thing is that it was published from two companies. This one being one of them, I guess you can say. And yeah, they were around for quite some time, and they're known for doing lots of Power Rangers stuff. I mean, yeah, they actually done quite a bit. I don't think they were only people, but I know a company that's actually pretty popular is this one as well, whom has been around for quite a while too, and they've done quite a bit of stuff like when it comes to like action comics and whatnot. So yeah, they publish a truckload of this type of stuff as well. So there you go. So okay, that should give you a decent idea of how this graphic novel is. But anyway, as always, I have to talk about the plot. So let's get into it, shall we? So here we go. It starts off with a Green Ranger going into this place, like a sneaky thing, like a little mission. I can't understand why they would choose the Green Ranger because he was the actually more popular one in the American version. So Of course, she's going to be the first one to be seen here, so it makes sense in that regard. But yeah, they're on this mission, of course, doing a bit of stealth at first anyway. But if you guys remember, like remember when the Green Ranger turned bad in the show? That kind of happens here, but he was being forced into it while trying to be good, just being forced into it. But of course, you're going to see Rita, and of course, she's up to no good as usual. Yeah, of course, it's the same Rita. Oh, well, the American version anyway. She was trying to give the Green Ranger an ultimatum this time around, not really give him a spell, just more of an ultimatum. He always had to say, "Oh, you get punished." So that's at least that's the vibe I got from this anyway. Yeah. See this? Yeah, it kind of makes me laugh because how do I say this? Yeah, pointy titties. Okay, that sounds maybe really immature. I know, but that's really crude. I know, but like the fact that that two Bulk and Skull guy was all cross-dressed in the show as well. Oh right, I can see that being played as a joke, but I can't see this in a video game and not have bullshit. Also, Sailor Moon, the other TV show that's like a superhero thing, was heavily censored because of it. What the hell? I know, the unedited version is on Blu-ray and whatnot, but you still get my point. Anyway, but like I was saying, of course, Rita's up to no good and whatnot. She's up to her plan for takeover, but the Green Ranger had no choice to just go and do what he has to do and just fight, of course, because he has to do it. But of course, Rita has some plans, of course, but because that's the thing. She's always supposed to be this woman and whatnot. How about you have it in your hands full? Her henchman comes in and just trying to kick his ass. Of course, Gordar's in here, of course, and he's always proven to be one of the toughest guys in the show, of course. And she has her own magical spells, obviously. But because the thing is, she wants to make sure she goes into a realm where the Rangers aren't there. But if she gets found out anyway. But yeah, that's the thing here, folks. And of course, we see other characters from the show that do arrive, of course. And like, all right, that happens. But she's confident that she can take over this dimension and just do whatever she wants. Because she's getting tired of the nuisance, aka the Power Rangers, getting in the way every single time. Always. But of course, it's proven to be a bit tough, of course, and maybe it did work in some ways. And she's trying to figure out that she's somewhere with her henchmen and whatnot. And yeah, again, like I said, we get to see quite a few characters as well, like this individual. Yeah, he's also from the show as well, and yeah, he's pretty loyal in here, folks. And if you remember him in the show, he's pretty much the same here. All her henchmen are pretty much the same like they were in the show, and again right here, folks. But certainly, there's more monsters that appear, like Megalon, of course, that does make an appearance here. And yeah, he does his own thing, trying to fight, of course, trying to like pro wrestling style, obviously. So yeah, that's going on here in this movie, of course. So I don't think this serves as a connection to the movie, by the way. Just throwing it out there. But the thing is that judging from the design, you see, they're seeing the fight, of course. But judging from Godzilla's design, thing is that Godzilla's Megalon was in one continuity of Godzilla's series. But the thing is that the design himself in this comic was from a different continuity in the series. Oh yeah, that's not confusing. No, of course not. Anyway, but the thing is that Rita definitely wants to basically do what she wants. Make sure that she has no one in her way. But of course, during the battle, yeah, a UFO does arrive, of course. And yeah, this is definitely, I think, another opponent arrives. Hopefully, it can help, at least according to Rita, hopefully it can help her out for the better. And these characters, whom Gordor, if I'm pronouncing his name right, does ambush us, of course. And the thing is that they will team up with her later, by the way, as the story will progress, to take care of the Power Rangers and Godzilla himself. Because the thing is that Godzilla does prove to be an opponent that's really tough. And of course, those aliens are from the Adventures of Astos monster, which Godzilla co-starred in, because it was more focused on King Ghidorah and the human characters. But anyway, the Green Ranger, does realize what must be done. Things are pretty hectic, of course. So yeah, what's going on? Those mole monsters, these aliens going on here, of course. So yeah, the Rangers do realize that some work must be done on the alien characters, and Rita do have communication, of course, and sort out what they have to do. And of course, make sure that these aliens can bring monsters for her in which can control. And of course, the thing is that Green Ranger he's pooped, I guess. He's tired, is what I'm saying. And yeah, he realized what must be done. He doesn't want to. Yeah, the Green Ranger does attempt to call this robot, this giant Zoid, I guess this machine, I guess you can say, because like just like in the show, that happens here, of course. And yeah, of course, it's gonna have some fight scenes in this. I mean, might as well. And yeah, good stuff here. So that happens here. That actually does happen. He sings this tune or whatever, brings this Zord in, and of course do battle. And just like you might expect, this does happen in the comic, at least for a brief moment. So of course Rita does realize this. So of course the thing is that Godzilla does not like being pushed around by the Power Rangers. Of course, the thing is that it obviously displays that he's on nobody's side really, like at all. Is he being mind controlled by Rita? What is she trying to do? What's going on here? She's obviously trying to use every attempt to bring the Power Rangers down forever. Of course, she never liked him anyway. Remember what happened in the TV show, of course. And the thing is that again, Godzilla proves to be a tough opponent like he was in movies, and just continues fighting, which of course can spell bad news for the Power Rangers. It does not good news for them like whatsoever. So this is definitely a crazy thing. They keep going at it, and of course, again like a wrestling match kind of a thing going on here. So yeah, we see this fight sequence going on between the two giants, of course. Okay, it wouldn't be the first time Godzilla faced out, robots, and of course, this robot gets his ass handed to him. So there's that. It's pretty badly, of course, and yeah, that's it's pretty crazy, of course, and yeah, Godzilla keeps going without mercy, like at all. And of course, it's a stressful situation for the characters, of course. And yeah, and the Power Rangers, the other Power Rangers, do witness this, and of course, they eventually have to step in, of course. Obviously, with their own robots, of course, their own machines. And yes, they actually, all these robots do come in, of course, and do battle with them, with the other monsters as well. Again, saying that he's on nobody's side, really, like at all. But yeah, folks, it's a crazy situation. And one thing I'll definitely bring up, yes, he does bring up the whole fact of the multiverse kind of a thing. And this was a way to explain that why did Godzilla never appear in the show, and why the characters, the Power Rangers, never appeared in the movies of Godzilla, I mean. Well, multiverse. This just takes place in a different reality, so it's not canon really, I guess. Yeah, having characters taking place in a like alternate reality in a different universe, kind of a thing, and attempting to establish its own story in some ways. I mean, it's a popular thing in fiction. The Last of Us Part One had done that, of course, along with the sequel, had done the same exact thing, and of course, Cyberpunk 2077, and of course, GoldenEye Rogue Agent has done as well, so there's that. Yeah, this graphic novel is pretty action packed. It's pretty straight to the point. There's like no character development really. So yeah, I can say that the multiverse idea is actually pretty cool, but in some ways I feel like it's wasted. And use the video game Cyberpunk 2077 example. I mean, like narrative has its problems too, sure, but it doesn't make a better use than this story did. I'll give it that. And yeah, I know there was a movie that was released, like this one, folks, a while back, which eventually got a sequel. Well, okay, loose sequel in some ways because this movie was more of a bridge between two TV seasons, I guess. Like for this one, and it was also trying to be a bridge for that and this one as well. So it was more a direct sequel to these two TV shows than the other movie. And yeah, this because the series was kind of its own continuity, which was completely ignored except the first movie when it comes to this series of films. So that kind of did its own thing too in some ways. And I know there was a Godzilla game as well. That kind of did his own thing as well. So on top of that, really confusing. And yes, there was also the TV show, which also did its own thing. So, my head. But yeah, this just kind of dismisses all that in some ways, I guess. But if anyone just wants to say that this graphic novel sucks, it's a stinker. Well, I mean, it was alright, I guess, but still, not every book out there is trying to be Shakespeare. It's not is what I'm getting at. So I'll give it credit when credit's due. It doesn't give any bullshit. It gives you what you expect when it comes to this kind of a thing, I guess. No philosophical bullshit like some movies I'm gonna think of, trying to be pretend to be smart, pretending to be deep and whatnot. Just oh boy, pretentious stuff. When you think about it, I really hate this kind of movies that trying to be like super pretentious, super deep, super smart. Don't do that. I mean, like I said, it has some wasted potential. They could have done a lot more with it, but yeah, it was decent, I guess you can say. I mean, my expectations for this were that high anyway, if I'm gonna be honest here. But it does its job. The story itself is pretty simplistic. I mean, it does try to bring up the multiverse kind of a thing, of course, and it does have some interesting ideas, but it's not very long, so some of it feels underdeveloped, really. So it just felt like a lot was crammed in. Kind of reminds me of Spider-Man 3 in that regard. Don't put too much in too little time. It kind of suffers from that. So it feels rushed in some extent, but it's fine. It's very action packed. It's pretty much what you expect. Godzilla fighting the Power Rangers and a bunch of other monsters. That's why a lot of people don't see this and read it and whatnot anyway. So if that's what you're looking for, you got what you wanted. So whatever. Yeah, the writing needs some work, really, but at the end of the day, it's the action what you want, I guess. So I'll give this an overall rating of a 6.8 out of 10. It gets a 6.8 out of 10 for me. And as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time, see ya. Oh yeah, later.